Oke, narasumber kita hari ini adalah Grace Marcelina, British Council IELTS Expert. Kepada Mbak Grace, waktu dan tempat saya persilahkan.
Okay, thank you, Floro. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Grace Marcelina. I work closely with the IELTS examination team of the British Council Indonesia Foundation. And I would like to welcome you all to this IELTS webinar on Get Familiar with Computer-Delivered IELTS as part of the Culture Connected Volume 2, the IELTS series. So perhaps while we are waiting, during the introductory session, could you please just type in the chat box where you are joining this session from? For example, are you in Jakarta or Bandung or probably Makassar? Okay. Right. Please let us know where you're from. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to share my screen now. We're going to begin with the presentation. Yeah. So please turn off your microphones and video cameras. Okay, right. So just a brief reminder, everyone, that we strongly recommend that you turn off your microphones and video cameras, and these might interfere with the presentation itself. Yeah. Okay. At the end of the presentation, we will have a Q&A session. So feel free to type in your questions then. Okay. Please make sure that you only post IELTS-related questions. So no pictures, locations, or other irrelevant material allowed. Thank you. Right. Now make sure that you are sitting comfortably with good internet connection and speed. It is useful to have a pen or pencil with you and a piece of paper, of course, for making notes throughout the presentation. You can write down your questions to be asked later during the Q&A session. Yeah, thank you. So let's begin. You know that you're going to take the IELTS test, but what does IELTS stand for? Yeah. Okay, unfortunately, we can't really type in the chat box now. Right. Oh, got some people. Bandung. Okay, East Java. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, if you are familiar with IELTS, now, oops, sorry. Okay. Right, so IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. It is proudly owned by the British Council, IDP IELTS Australia, and Cambridge Assessment IELTS. Yeah. Now, I lost my cursor. Okay. Right. Right. So IELTS is designed to assess the English language ability of those who intend to study, work, or live where English is the language of communication. Yeah. Now, why do you think IELTS is successful? So, yeah, it is recognized and accepted by over 10,000 organizations worldwide in over 140 countries, including universities, yeah, employers, professional bodies, immigration authorities, and other government agencies. Yeah. So the first IELTS test was held in 1989. So we've been around the world for quite some time now. Another reason of the test format itself. Yeah. So it tests the four main skills, which are the listening, reading, and writing, and also speaking. International English is used, so it's not about British English or American English or even Australian English. So it is internationally recognized English. Face-to-face speaking test is also one of the reasons, as well as the availability of the modules as you might know by now, that you can take either the paper-based test and the computer-delivered one. The test is also conducted quite frequently. For the paper-based test, it is usually held on the weekend in Jakarta. It's about 3 weekends in a month, to be exact. And for other cities like Bandung, Surabaya, Yogyakarta, Medan, Padang, and Makassar, it ranges between once or twice a month. Yeah. For the city IELTS, we have it every Tuesday until Sunday in the British Council head office in Jakarta. And in other cities, we also have it either once or twice a month. Yeah. You can check for the test dates in our website. And for the results, you will have your results for the paper-based test. You'll have it within 13 days, while for the computer-delivered one is between 3 to 5 days. If you register with us, then you will also get an extensive preparation material from the British Council. Now, you might be thinking, which IELTS test is best for me? So we have 2 modules, the academic module and the general training one. If you are continuing your study, for example, university, college, for undergraduate or even postgraduate level, participate probably in a fellowship program, yeah, for medical doctors or others, then you should take the academic one. This module assesses your ability to study or train at these levels. If you're applying for a visa, let's say, if you're going to migrate, work, do some training, and or get some work experience, then you should take the general training one. This module assesses your survival skills in a broad social and educational context. So before you register for the test, make sure that you know which module to take. Okay. Right. The IELTS test provides a measure of candidates' ability according to the 9-band scale. If you're familiar with the CEFR, it's a Common European Framework Reference. It is a guideline or an international standard for describing language abilities. Yeah? We don't use the terms of some language institutions who use intermediate level or elementary level, because each institution might have different standards for what elementary or intermediate level is. So you can check out IELTS.org for more info on this. The test result is valid for 2 years, and of course, there is no passing or failing marks. Yeah? Yeah. Let's have a look at the test format, the difference between the academic and the general training one. So as you can see here, there are actually not much differences. We'll have a closer look at these later. So in terms of the timing, they're pretty similar. We've got both modules have listening, reading, writing for 60 minutes and 2 tasks, and speaking 11 to 14 minutes, 3 parts. The total test time is 2 hours, 44 minutes, plus 10 minutes transfer time for the paper-based IELTS listening test. Of course, this will be different if you're taking the computer-delivered one. Now, let's have a look at the differences. So here you can see that in terms of delivery, module, and length of test, there are no differences between the paper-based test and the computer-delivered one. You can see that the differences are in the availability of the results and the test itself. Yeah, you can see that the computer-delivered one has more frequent sessions compared to the paper-based test. The price is the same. Content is the same, as well as timing, question type, scoring, speaking test delivery, and the test report form. Yeah, that's what you will get after you finish the test. Okay. Right. So as of now, in some countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, have resumed. But for Indonesia, you can check with our website, British Council Foundation British Council Foundation.id, or take IELTS.britishcouncil.org. As of now, we have it scheduled on the 24th of September for computer-delivered test in Jakarta, but this is subject to change based on government announcements. With consideration of the current coronavirus situation, we are taking these precautionary measures for health and safety, since the safety, health, and well-being of all employees, task takers, customers, and community in which we are operating is our top priority at the British Council. So face masks and hand sanitizers are provided in every test venue. You may be required to remove your face mask for identification purposes, usually before your written test in the morning, as you do the re-registration process, and before you begin the actual speaking test, with the examiner. Now, let's move on to the test, Computer-Delivered IELTS. This is what a computer-delivered IELTS venue is like. Not all venues are exactly like that, but there are certain requirements that must be met. So as you can see that on the left, this is a sample of the speaking test room. This is what the speaking test room is like. And the one on the right is where candidates sit the test. So the aim is to provide comfort, safety, and confidentiality, of course, to each test taker. So you cannot lean and then, look at your friend's answers on someone sitting next to you. Now, we're going to watch an introductory video for computer-delivered IELTS. Let's turn our attention to the screen.
Welcome to our Computer-Delivered IELTS Tutorial 1. This tutorial will show you how to complete and prepare for Computer-Delivered IELTS. For each section, there's a clock at the top of the screen, which tells you how much time you have left. For the reading and writing tests, the clock will turn red and flash when you have 10 and 5 minutes left. The tests will automatically stop when the time finishes. The instructions for each part are in the box at the top of the screen. You can use the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen to move from one question to the next. Click on the number to go to that question. You can also click on the forward arrow to go to the next question, or the back arrow to go to the previous question. When you have answered the question, a line will appear under that question in the navigation bar. You can click on Review if you want to look at the question again later. The question number will be shown as a circle. You can review and change your answers at any time until the end of the test. Click on the yellow arrow if you want to make the navigation bar smaller. You can use the scroll bar to see all the questions. In each of the tests, you can change the screen settings. To do this, click on the Settings tab at the top of the screen. You can change the size and color of the text. In each of the tests, there is a Help tab. If you click on the Help tab, this will give you information about the task you're currently doing. If you click on Test Help, you will see information about how the test works. If you wish, you can also highlight sections of the text. If you need to leave the test room for a few minutes, you can hide your screen by clicking on the Hide tab. When you return to the test room, click on the Resume Test button. That is the end of the introduction tutorial for Computer-Delivered IELTS. Check out the British Council IELTS YouTube channel for tutorial videos for listening, reading, and writing.
Right. So that's the general introduction of the computer-delivered IELTS. Yeah. Now, as you can see, this is what your screen will look like. There's a clock on top of your screen, and it will flash red when you have 10 and 5 minutes left. There's a navigation bar at the bottom of the screen, and you can see the number of questions for each part of the test. You can jump from one question to another for reading and writing especially. I don't recommend you do this during the listening section. If you jump from part 1 to part 2, then you will miss the rest of the recording for part 1. Yeah? If you want to change the font size, the colors, and the resolution of the screen, you can click on the screen settings there on top. And if you need to leave your desk, you can hide the tab. You will be provided with some note paper for you to make notes. Okay. Now let's have a closer look at the listening session. Right. So you have 30 minutes to answer all of the questions. Yeah. And then there are 40 questions, 4 sections for the listening test. So there's about 10 questions each, and the total of 40 marks. Yeah. And then each section is played only once, and the recordings include a range of accents. So you might hear British accents, Australian, American, and others. Yeah. But then remember, it's international English, so you should be fine there. Right. And different from the paper-based test, where you have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet, in the computer-delivered IELTS, you only have 2 minutes to check your answers. Now, let's have a look at each section. So here, for the text type, you will be exposed to a varying number of speakers, from 1, which is a monologue, to a dialogue of 2 to 4 people. The task types are very straightforward, and there are about 6 to 7 question types. Some of them are similar to the ones in the reading test. Yeah, we'll also have a look at some of them when we cover the reading section. Now, let's have a look at the recording. Introduction to the listening test.
For the listening test, you can change the volume by using the volume bar in the top right at any time during the test. For each part of the listening test, you will hear the recording once only. Some parts of the test have more than one type of question. Each type of question has its own instructions. In the listening test, listen carefully for the part number and question numbers to make sure you are looking at the right screen. For some questions, you need to write your answer in the gap. For some questions, you need to choose which diagram label, A, B, C, etc., is correct for which item listed in the table. For each question, click on the correct space in the table. For some questions, you need to click on an answer and move it into the gap. If you want to change an answer, move another answer into the gap. If you want to leave the question unanswered, move the question back. And for some questions, you need to move an answer into a gap on a diagram. At the end of the listening test, you'll have 2 minutes to check all of your answers. The tests will automatically stop when the time finishes.
You can change the volume with the volume bar. Yes, as you can see here, you can see it on top right in the corner. Now, how to answer? Of course, it will be very different to the paper-based test. You either have to type in your answers in the gap. When you identify diagram label, you can click and drag. If you want to leave the gap blank, you move the word back to the list of options. And you move the answer into the gap on the diagram labeling. You have 2 minutes to check on your answer. Don't worry about bringing your own headphones. Yeah, they will be provided for you. Okay. Before starting, make sure that you test all the headsets and adjust the volume on the screen. If you can't hear anything, please let the invigilators know so we can do something before your actual test begins. Yeah. Again, I should remind you that IELTS is all about following instructions. So read and listen to the instructions carefully and follow them. Yeah. If you only have to write no more than 2 or 3 words and or a number, then please do so. You will have some time before and after the questions. Use these wisely to prepare and to check. You can read ahead and then predict probably what kind of answer you need. Do you think you need to find a name or a date or specific address, or even if you don't have any clue, probably just guess whether you need a noun, an adjective, and so on. There are no penalties for incorrect answers. Yeah, well, basically it's just wrong. Yeah, and then spelling counts, of course. Synonyms. What you will read in the question booklet or on the screen might not be exactly the same as the one that you listen from the recording. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to the IELTS reading test. Okay. Do you remember your skimming and scanning skills? Yeah, so if you have taken the IELTS preparation course, then you must have heard of this from your teachers or your language instructors, or maybe your friends when you're studying for IELTS together with your friends. But for the computer-delivered IELTS, you might need to add one more skill, which is scrolling skills, yeah? Because you will need to scroll through the passage. Now, you don't need to memorize what the words exactly mean, but it is best to know how and when they are used. Yeah? Remember, you have a limited time in answering the text, so you need to know when you have to spend much time reading a text, or if you just have to scan and look for the answer to the question. You should be aware when to read for the gist, the main ideas, or if you have to read for details. Learn to understand inferences and implied meanings. So not everything is spoon-fed or given to you word for word. Yeah. So go ahead to have a look at the overview. So you have 60 minutes to do 3 passages and 40 questions. So one passage can have between 12 to 14 questions each. And of course, it ranges gradually from easier passage 1 to a more challenging passage in passage 3. Yeah? I don't say difficult, it's just more challenging. So you will get 1 mark for each correct answer. And of course, spelling and grammar are important. Yeah. So be careful with especially singular or plural nouns. Now we looked at the modules that we have in the IELTS test. There are some differences in the reading and writing sections. For the academic reading, you have 3 long texts, while in the general training, you have 2 short texts and 1 long one. The passages or the articles are taken from books, journals, magazines, and newspapers, while for the general training 1, you might see notices, advertisements, for example, flats for rent or car for hire, or probably you want to book a room in a hotel or getting a train or shuttle bus from the airport. Also from handbooks or official documents, in addition to books, magazines, and newspapers. So the academic reading section is relevant to your study, while the general training is more relevant to life in an English English-speaking countries. Now, we're going to have a look at the introductory video of the reading test.
In the reading test, the text appears on the left and the questions on the right. To see all the text and the questions, you will need to use both scroll bars. For some questions, you need to choose an answer. If you want to change your answer, click on a new answer. If you want to leave a question unanswered, click on the answer again. To look at the next question, just click on the question itself. For some questions, you need to choose more than one answer. If you want to change any of your answers, click on the answer you want to change and then click on your new answer. If you want to leave any of the questions unanswered, click on the answer again. For some questions in the reading test, you need to choose which paragraph or section contains the information listed in the table. Remember to scroll to read all the text. For each question, click on the correct space in the table. If you want to change an answer, click on Your New Answer. If you want to leave the question unanswered, click on the answer again. For some questions in the reading test, you need to click on a heading for a paragraph or section and move it into the gap. If you want to change your answer, move another heading into the gap. If you want to leave the question unanswered, move the heading back. And for some questions, you need to write your answer on a gap in a diagram. If you wish, you can also highlight sections of the text. To do this, left-click and drag your cursor over the section of the text or question you wish to highlight. Then, right-click and select the Highlight option. To remove highlighting from the text, right-click on the highlighted area and select Clear. If you wish to remove all highlighting from the screen, right-click on a highlighted area and select Clear All. You can also make notes on a section of text. To do this, left-click and drag the cursor over the section of text or question you want to make notes about. Then, right-click and select the Notes option. Your chosen section of text will be highlighted, and a yellow notepad will appear. You can write your notes on this. Click on the X in the notepad to hide your notes. To see your notes again, click on the highlighted section of the text. If you want to see which areas of highlighted text have notes, move the cursor slowly over each area of highlighted text. If a small orange box appears, it means that the highlighted text contains notes. To remove notes from text or questions, right-click on the highlighted area and select Clear.
Okay, so you could see some question types in the reading test earlier. So maybe if you have taken the IELTS preparation course, you know that there are some questions question type. Yeah, there were true, false, not given. Yeah, usually if you do it on paper based, then sometimes people just write a T for true, yeah, or false, an F, and NG for not given. Although probably the answer is correct, but they're still wrong because you're supposed to write true, T-R-U-E, instead of just a T. So in this, by taking the Computer-Delivered IELTS, you just have to click, yeah? And there's a paragraph heading where you need to just click and drag and move the answer, okay? Now, this is what your screen will look like in the Computer-Delivered IELTS reading test. Now, you can see there are two scroll bars on the screen. There's one for the passage and another one for the question. Yeah, the one in the middle and then on the far right. You may highlight some sections. Yeah, if you take the paper-based test, probably you can only underline some parts of the text that you think is important, or maybe where you think it is where the answer is. Now, in this, in Computer-Delivered IELTS, you just need to highlight, right click, and then highlight, which I think is a very useful feature, yeah. And you can also make notes, yeah, there. The same step, right? Select the part of the text, and then right click. Under the highlight, you will see notes. Okay. Then to erase that, you just need to right click on there again. Okay. Some tips to remember. Okay, we're not going to discuss this in depth because there's another webinar about how to get good IELTS score. I think you will, if you have registered, then you will see more tips there. Yeah. But then just very briefly, again, spelling is very important. And be careful with the use of your singular and plural nouns normally. Like, for example, for the summary question without a box, then make sure you type in the exact same words as in the passage. Yeah? Also, clues are important. Read around the gaps, the words around the gap, where you might find a clue. For example, the gap isn't the object of a sentence, then the word before that probably will be the verb. If it's a plural verb, then you need to find plural nouns. That's another clue for you. Yeah. Again, always follow instructions carefully. How many words do you need to type in? Yeah. If you need to complete a note like this, make sure you only type in the exact missing words there. Don't repeat the whole phrase. Make sure that you try to answer all the questions and then check them. And again, similar to the listening one, what you read in the passage might not what you read in the question. Yeah, so synonym is very important. Some more tips, just very quickly. You're reading for a purpose. You don't have to understand every single word. Okay, don't spend too long on one passage or a question. If you don't know the answer yet, just move on. Sorry, the third step. It's okay if you don't have prior knowledge to this, don't worry. Yeah, all the answers are there in the passage. Some words may be just there to complement. You may not need to use it. Okay, so that's it. The writing section now. Let's have a look at the writing section. So as I mentioned earlier that between the academic module and the general training one, the difference in the modules is in the reading section and the writing section. Let's have a look at this section briefly. So both modules have two parts. The difference is only in the first part, where if you're taking the academic module, then you'll be provided with a chart. Can be one of the 5 types of charts, can be a pie chart, bar chart, line graph, tables, diagram, or process. Or if you're lucky, you might get a combination of 2. Yes, two out of the 5 can be pie chart and bar chart, and so on. So while for the general training one, you might need to write a letter. Yeah. For task 2, it requires you to write an essay. It can be either comparative or descriptive. Yeah. Sometimes you will be asked to do both. For task 1, you have to write at least 150 words, while for task 2, at least 250 words. Yeah. Make sure that you rephrase the task and the topic. Although you are given some recommended time, in total you have to do the writing section in 60 minutes. You can do this in either order. Yeah, as you could see. Yeah, as you will see in the video later, that you can move from task 1 to task 2, just like in the reading. You can jump around the question. Yeah, and then we'll have a look at that. But make sure that you must answer. Make sure that you answer both questions, task 1 and task 2. So, marking criteria. There are 4 criteria in the writing section. So, task achievement for task 1 and task response for task 2. So, basically, whether or not you address the question and you stick to the topic. Yeah. For coherence and cohesion, it's how easy it is to follow your idea. Do you use paragraphs well? Is it easy to understand what you're trying to say? Do you use sufficient cohesive devices? Yes. For example, oh, I know to end something I need to use to summarize. But if you use that in the body paragraph, it's not really coherent. Yes. Okay. The next one will be your range of vocabulary. You want to show off your English skills, writing in this case. So make sure that you use a wide range of vocabulary. Idioms, less common lexical items that can be helpful, but most importantly, make sure that you use them accurately. Yes. And the last part will be grammatical range and accuracy. So this is more about how you are able to use a range of sentence structure. So as you know, we've got simple sentences, compound sentences, even complex sentences, and whether or not you can use them accurately and appropriately. Just one note for lexical resource. Remember, this is a formal test, so avoid the use of colloquial expressions. Yeah, slangs like I'm gonna. Yeah, try to avoid that. Mom, just like mother. Kids, just like children, or young learners or students, and so on. So from the 4 marking criteria, 4 marks average. For example, you get a 7 in task achievement, 7 in coherence and cohesion, but 6 in lexical resource and 6 in grammatical range and accuracy. Your overall writing score is 6.5. Now let's have a look at the video. Introduction to the writing on computer-delivered text.
There are 2 parts to the writing test. Part 1 and Part 2. You can answer the parts in either order. You write your answer in the space on the right of the screen. Your answers are saved automatically. You do not need to press Enter on your keyboard. For the reading and writing tests, the clock will turn red and flash when you have 10 and 5 minutes left.
Yeah, it's quite short. So again, as you can see, this is what your screen will look like. Yes. This one is part 2 or task 2. You can see at the bottom left corner, there's part 1 and part 2. So if you think, oh, I want to do part 2 first, then just do so, because your answers are saved automatically. Yeah. So after this, you can go back to part 1. There are no grammar and spelling checks available. Of course, this is an English test. Yeah. But you have the word count function available. So if you see at the corner there's a word count. Yeah. So you don't have to count it manually, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a waste of time. Okay. And of course, the last part is you can copy, paste, erase, and undo easily. So the whole thing is designed to make it easier for you to do the whole test. Now we're going to have to get some samples of the academic writing task. So this is a sample of academic writing task 1. This is the bar chart. Yes. For the general training writing, as I mentioned earlier, you might need to write a letter. Okay. Note that there are 3 bullet points. These are one of the most important parts that you need to address in your letter. Begin your letter with dear sir or madam, yeah, and then end it with your name. Don't worry about e-signature; it's not required. Just type in your name. Yeah. Okay. So this is a sample of either academic or general training writing task 2. Yeah, they're the same. This is an example. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So just a quick tip. If you see the question, make sure that you know what the topic is and what your task is. Yeah, what do you have to do? Do you have to agree to make comparisons, agree or disagree? If you agree, how far? Yeah, that's what to extent means. So the topic here is the high sales of popular consumer goods reflect the power of advertising, not the real needs of the society. Yeah. So make sure that you stick to the topic. Don't digress. Some other things to remember for writing task 2. Yeah, always read the question carefully and answer it. Make sure that you know what the task is, comparative, descriptive, or both. Make sure you provide your opinion if you're asked for it. Because in task 1, you don't put your opinion, yeah? You just need to describe the chart. Plan and organizing ideas before you start writing. Yeah, planning is, I'll say, it is the most important stage before you actually writing. No bullet points or notes in task 2, and stick to the topic. Make sure your register is apt, formal, not conversational. So, we have what is called IEE, idea, explain, example. In general academic writing, they call it topic sentence, supporting sentence, and developing sentence. Yeah. And then spend some time to check for your mistakes. Okay. Right, so the last part, we've done all the parts for the written test. Speaking test is still conducted face-to-face, yeah? So there are about 11 to 14 minutes for the speaking test. This is designed so that every candidate has the same experience anywhere they're taking the test all over the world. It's a one-to-one interaction, and it is recorded, yeah? Why is it recorded, you might think? So in case your speaking needs to be reassessed, yes, the recording will be used instead of having you to come and do the speaking test again. Yeah, right. So similar to the writing section, there are 4 criteria: fluency and coherence, whether you are fluent in answering the question. Doesn't mean that you speak non-stop, yeah, but I think we can see the difference between looking for the answer and looking for the words, yeah, the right words to say. So for the second part, it's completely fine. Again, a range of vocabulary is also important. Grammatical range and accuracy, and the last part will be pronunciation. Don't worry if you have a strong accent, for example, I'll say Italian accent, but as long as you can pronounce it clearly and accurately, the other people can still understand you. It's fine. Yeah, German accent and fine. The same for marks average. Yeah. Okay. Just briefly for speaking section, there are 3 parts. The first one is where the examiner checks your idea and then ask you some questions about familiar topics. Part 2 is where you need to talk for about 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to prepare your answers based on a topic. given on a cue card, and you cannot ask for it to be changed. If you're not familiar with the topic, talk about other points related to it. For speaking part 3, this is a discussion of a more abstract aspect related to the topic from part 2 with the examiner. So the examiner would like to know whether you can communicate your opinions and information on everyday topics and some common experiences. You should speak at length on a given topic using appropriate language. Of course, you need to talk more, not the examiner. This is your chance to show off your speaking skills because you want to get that target score, right? Organize your ideas coherently in all parts, 1, 2, and 3. Don't jump around your ideas. You need to express and justify your opinion because part 3 especially tested your ability to evaluate, analyze, discuss, and speculate about some issues. Yeah. Okay. So this is a sample speaking part 1 task. The questions in the brackets are just follow-up questions. If you have given an extended response to this, then you might not hear the examiner asking you this. For example, how often do you watch television? Not often. Then the examiner will ask you, why not? Then you need to extend your answer. Some quick speaking tips. The simplest way to practice will be to practice speaking about a topic and record it. You can use your voice notes or voice recording app in your phone. You can also try this one. You can go to the website, Overrule. There's another one. If you have checked out our Future Learn, Understanding IELTS Speaking, they also have SpeakPipe. Yeah, you can go and check the website out. You can also share your recording there and get feedback from others. Yeah. Okay. Right. Some quick tips. Other quick tips. Try to relax. Yeah. The examiner will give you support, as in opportunity for you to speak, not giving you the answers. Yeah. Make sure that you speak clearly. Concentrate on communicating. Be prepared to talk about yourself and your life experiences in part 3. 1 to 3. In part 3, be prepared to talk about general topics. It can be about your society or your country. Make sure you give opinions on topics relevant to you and your background, and answer as fully as you can. Yeah. Most important, don't use your first language just because you think that, oh, I think the examiner is someone from my home country. Yeah, this is not your first language test. This is the English test. So don't worry about making occasional mistakes. Hesitation sometimes, or sorry, self-correct is okay. Sometimes, not too often. Yeah. Try not to memorize answers because you might not actually answering the right question. Okay. Don't worry if the examiner interrupts. Yeah. There are probably one of these 2 reasons. First, your time is up, and second, you speak off topic. So they will say something. Right. So why you should take IELTS with the British Council? So we've got lots of IELTS preparation materials. Yeah. The first step is okay. It's a comprehensive preparation course, which includes a range of interactive activities. Yeah, we've got 3 versions. Road to IELTS 3 version, last minute version, only for registered British Council test takers. And the last one is the full version, which is the paid version. This includes 300 interactive exercises. The second one is MOOC. It's free for a limited time only. And we've got the IELTS British Council Facebook page. Yeah, we've got some apps that might be able to help you with your preparation as well. There's the IELTS Prep app, Word Power app, and Word Ready. And the last one, we've got some books and study guides available in our British Council office or the local bookstore. Yeah, okay. There's one that is quite important, I think. we have computer-delivered IELTS familiarization test. So you will get a full sample version of the test itself, all sections, yeah, with a total of 2 hours and 30 minutes of questions, exactly like the real IELTS test that you'd be sitting for. Both academic and general training tests are available. You can do as much or as little of the test as you choose. Unlike the real IELTS test, there is a finish section button where you can advance through the test, meaning once you are comfortable with what to expect from each section, you can fast forward on to the next section at any time. Yeah, it's accessible anytime. You don't need to book or register in advance. Yeah, we've got more preparation materials here. You can check out our IELTSasia.org and along with some IELTS preparation videos. Next up is the study planner. This is our newest and latest prep material. It's a 5-week preparation study plan, which will guide you through a range of free IELTS study materials and resources. Also, suggest activities you can do to improve your English skills. We hope that this planner will get you acquainted with the test format and also improve your confidence. So what's good about this study planner, which I like a lot, is that it helps you be more organized and disciplined with your preparation. It has these self-check boxes to tick whether or not you have completed the activities listed. Yeah, I also know many of us will have different needs and priorities based on factors such as general English language ability and time available to study. So you may adapt the planner to best suit your needs. Okay. Right, next up are the apps. Yes, I think you can access this to Android, Google Play. Yes. And some list of free IELTS webinars. You can check out IELTS, our British Council Facebook and fan page. This will be available for sign up once you have registered your IELTS with us at the British Council. Yes, so we've got quite a lot of webinars as well. Right, so our next webinar that is on the 11th of September, how to get a good IELTS score as a part of the Culture Connect Volume 2 IELTS series. This webinar will be delivered by my colleague Tia. Yes, there will be some more tips on how to do well in the IELTS test. So we will also have Elmer. He's one of our IELTS prize winners, currently studying in the University of Edinburgh. So he will share about his journey when preparing for the test to get to where he is now. Yeah, please check out our Instagram account or Facebook page to get info on how to register. Right. So I guess we come up to the Q&A session. Hello? You're still on mute.
Hello, so yeah, we've got several questions here. Oke, mungkin yang pertama dijawab adalah dari, pertanyaannya adalah how significant is our knowledge of some recent issues, such as on social or political matters, to score high in IELTS Speaking Part 3 tests.
How important is our knowledge related to political and scientific issues? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Right. To have prior knowledge on certain topics is of course important, but make sure that when you actually do the test, whether it's the reading or the listening test, you don't put in the answers based on your own knowledge. Yeah. I would say that this will help you more in terms of the terms itself, yeah, because we've got some political terms or maybe financial terms and that sort of thing that can help you to actually understand what the text is about. But try not to use your personal knowledge to answer the question because it's not stated in the reading section or in the reading passage. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Okay, the next questions ini sebenarnya we got some questions yang menanyakan yang intinya sama adalah apakah Computer-Delivered IELTS ini juga sama di-accept di kampus-kampus atau organisasi yang menerima paper-based IELTS. Kemudian apa sih bedanya dan apakah ini kedua format ini tersedia di Indonesia, and is it both recognized in US and UK? So, yep, that's the questions.
Okay. Right. So I think for some part of the questions, I've already mentioned that in my presentation, but it's okay. Don't worry. I'll just make sure that both the paper-based test and the computer-delivered ones are acceptable anywhere in the world. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, it is accepted in more than 10,000 countries around the world, accepted by 140 institutions. Oh, sorry, 10,000 institutions and organizations over 140 countries around the world. So if you check out I guess, our website, you can also see the list of receiving institutions. Even in America, in the United States, they have started accepting the IELTS scores. Yeah, you guys said it. And I'm sorry about the availability. Yeah, the frequency.
Yeah.
Yes. Frequency, yes. We have more frequent sessions for the computer-delivered one, especially in Jakarta. I think it's every Tuesday until Sunday. Yeah, we have the morning session. We call it the AM session. So if you do the written test in the morning, you will do the speaking test in the afternoon. It usually starts at 1 p.m. But if you do the afternoon session, you will do the speaking test before the written test. So I will say that there are more benefits if you take the computer-delivered ones, as it has more frequent sessions. And for the paper-based test, in Jakarta, I think there are only 3 times a month. Yeah, 3 weekends a month. In other cities, only once or twice. But please check out our schedule in the website. You can go to takeielts.british-council.org or british-council.id. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mbak Grace. Okay, karena time constraints nih, we have very limited time. So I think itu adalah beberapa pertanyaan ya yang kita bisa jawab sekarang. Mungkin ada tambahan lagi dari Mbak Grace sebelum kita mengakhiri sesi hari ini.
There's a question here. Can we add personal anecdotes when we convey our opinion in the essay?
Oke. Boleh dijawab, itu mungkin pertanyaan terakhir yang kita bisa jawab.
Yeah, sorry, this one.
Yes.
Sometimes people want to add something, but then IELTS is a formal test, so try to make it formal, not conversational. Yeah. If you have personal anecdotes, then I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, you can use this when you have a chat or when you write to your friends. Try to avoid doing this when you do the IELTS test. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Thank you, Flo.
Thank you. Yep, so I think that is the questions untuk yang bisa kita jawab hari ini. Oke, terima kasih semuanya karena sudah mengikuti sesi hari ini sebagai usaha kami untuk memperbaiki dan membuat event yang lebih baik lagi. Kami membuat feedback Anda sebagai partisipan, mohon mengisi questionnaires yang ada yang akan kita bagikan di chat box ya. Oke. Kami akan memberikan waktu 5 menit ke depan untuk mengisi kuesioner ini. Acara Cultures Connect Us Festival akan berjalan hingga tanggal 20 September 2020 dan rangkaian program yang meliputi sesi-sesi dalam tema masyarakat inklusif dan kreatif, pendidikan, sains dan keterlibatan pemuda, keterampilan bahasa Inggris, seni dan budaya. Untuk informasi lebih lanjut mengenai program-program kami, silakan untuk follow kami di media sosial, di Instagram dan Twitter, di ID British dan @IDBritishR. Terima kasih. Sekali lagi, saya ingin ucapkan kepada para panelis, narasumber kami hari ini, dan juga teman-teman yang hadir sebagai partisipan. Sampai jumpa di acara Cultures Connects Us berikutnya. Selamat siang.
Thank you. Aku terlihat gendut sekali. Kalau lihat gendut.